Hi, my name is Bob Ewoldt, and I'm the Manager of Solutions Architects here at Ntiva. And today I'm going to show you how to set up SFTP within an Azure Storage blob. All right, I'm going to take you first over to my Azure subscription here, and we are going to set up the storage account first. So we're going to click Create on Storage Accounts. We are going to select our Azure subscription. We're going to actually tell it to create a new resource group, and I'm going to call this SFTP storage. And then I'm just going to generate a storage account name here randomly, because your storage account name has to be globally unique in Azure. Now, for the purposes of our training here, I'm just going to make it locally redundant storage instead of geo-redundant. Saves you a little bit of money if you go locally redundant versus geo-redundant. Next, we are going to select, let's see here, enable hierarchical namespace. That's required. And then we're going to enable SFTP on our Azure blob here. Then we're going to click next. Actually, I'm just going to skip ahead to the review and create. That's all we really need to configure in terms of our storage blob. Now I'm using East US. Because I'm using a free tier Azure account here to do this. I'm just going to write down my storage account name, because we're going to need that here in a minute. And I'm going to click create. Now the reason I'm in East US is we're going to set up some automation here in a minute, and the automation account can only be set up in certain regions. So I'm going to set it up in East US here. And we're going to let this deploy for a minute. Shouldn't take too long. And we're back. So our deployment of our storage account is complete. So we're going to go to our resource. The first thing we're going to set up, I'm going to set up a container because we need some place for SFTP to land when we're writing stuff to it. So we're going to call this file upload container. We're going to click create. Then I'm also going to go down here to SFTP. Now you'll see here disable SFTP button up here. That's because SFTP is running on your storage blob right now. Now we haven't set up any users, so they can't really access it, but it's already running. Now later on in this video, I'm going to show you how to turn it on and off using automation, because if you leave it on 24/7 SFTP, you're going to spend about $250 a month, depending on your region. Just on the SFTP service. So we want to be able to turn it on and off. If we're running batch jobs that upload files, it might be better to run it at certain times of the day, so you can run your batch jobs, all at night during one given hour or what have you. So we're going to add a local user here, and we're going to say test user 1. We are going to put a SSH password here. Click next. We have to tell it what containers this user has access to. So in this case, it's going to be the file upload container. And then we have to select at least one permission. I'm just going to select all, but you can say read, write, create, delete, whatever you need to do. And then I'm going to give it a default landing or a home landing directory of file upload. And I'm going to say add. Now, take a note here. It's going to tell you the SSH password for that user, and you got to copy it and store it somewhere to use it. I'm going to store it over here. And something else to take note of when if you're going to do this manually, and I'm going to show you how to do it manually here using WinSCP, you have to use the right user name. And in the let's just go back up here to the overview. Your username is going to be the name of the storage account dot the username. So in this case, it's going to be this big long string dot testuser1. All right, so we're just going to remember that. I'm going to write that down here, and that's our test user one. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and we are going to test our SFTP service. So right now it's running, so we can see that it's running in Azure. I'm going to open up WinSCP here, and we are going to set up a new connection. And the host name is going to be, let's see here, it's going to be your, I'm just going to quick create this here. So it's going to be your storage account name .blob.core.windows.net. So something like this here. And then your username, as I said before, it's going to be your storage account name dot your username. So it's going to look like that. And then we're going to put in our super secret password that we got when we set up the storage account or set up the local user. And we're going to click login. It's going to say continue connecting to this unknown user. You say, of course, I want to connect. And it takes you to your home page. Now we're going to select this picture of Seattle here and we're going to click upload. So it's going to upload it to the home directory. Now we're just going to test and make sure that it actually went there. So we're going to go into our containers. We're going to go into file uploads, and there's our picture of Seattle. And we can actually view it. There it is, our picture of Seattle. All right, so next, what we want to do is we want to set up some automation. All right. Now the automation is going to turn on and off the SFTP service when we're not using it. So we're going to click into our automation accounts. We're going to create an automation account in our Azure subscription, in our SFTP-storage resource group, and we're going to name this SFTP automate, and in the East US region, because that's one of the regions that we can create it in. Now, one of the things we're going to do here is we need to have a managed identity that the automation account will use to do the automation against the storage account. So we're going to say it's going to be a system assigned identity. And I don't think we need to do anything else here. So we're just going to click create. And we're going to wait for it to deploy here. All right, so it says only one account is allowed for your subscription per region. If okay, so I did this earlier, so I already created an account. So I'm going to go ahead and restore the same account from the trash where I put it. Hold on just a minute. All right, so we have our deployment of our automation account here. So we're going to go to our resource. Then we're going to, so we created our managed identity. We need to go in and we need to assign the managed identity access to our storage account. So we're going to go into our storage account here. We're going to go into access control, role assignments, and I am going to add a new role assignment for that managed identity. And we're going to give it the storage account. Storage, if I can spell correctly, storage account contributor. There we go. And we're going to select the managed identity. And it's going to be the only managed identity here in our subscription here. So we're going to select it. So now that managed identity has access to manage the storage account. So we're going to review and assign. And you'll see that it shows up here as a storage account contributor under our storage account that we created. All right, so now that we have that, we're going to set up a runbook within our SFTP automation account. All right, so we are going to create a runbook, and let's call this SFTP turn on and off. All right, we're going to select PowerShell as our runbook type. Got to select a runtime version, and we're going to say this runbook turns on and off SFTP on our storage account. View and create. Got to create it. Excelente. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to edit our runbook within our PowerShell. Basically, we're creating a script that will run in PowerShell. At a certain times a day. So our storage resource group name. Let's go get our storage resource group name. So our resource group's name is SFTP-storage. SFTP-storage. And our storage account name, we're going to grab that, put it in as our variable. Then we have a couple of commands to enable SFTP, and then we're going to wait for 15 minutes, and then we're going to disable SFTP. Now you can set it for however many minutes you want. If you want your SFTP to be turned on an hour a night, you can turn it on for an hour a night or an hour at a time. If you want to turn it on for 15 minutes, 13 times a day, you can do it. We're just going to write one script, and then we're going to set our schedule for when it runs. All right. So we have our enable SFTP script here, which is we're going to connect to the account. We're going to set the storage account in our resource group name, SFTP-storage, and we're going to select the storage account name, and we're going to enable SFTP. We're just going to set that setting to true. Then we're going to wait 15 minutes. Then we're going to set that to false. We're going to turn it off. All right. So we're going to save this, and we're going to publish it. Yes. All right. The next thing we need to do is we need to set up our schedules. So that's not what we want to do. We want to go back to our automation account, and this is where we're going to set up our schedules. So under shared resources, we're going to create a schedule, and we're going to say this is the SFTP schedule, and let's say we're going to run it at 10:30 to 10:45 every night. So we're going to say it's recurring. We're going to start at 10:30 p.m. and we're going to recur every 1 day and no expiration. So we're going to create it. It's going to create our schedule. If you refresh it, you can see it's there. Now we need to go assign that schedule to our runbook. So we're going to go into our runbook, the one that we just created, and we're going to assign the schedule to it. We're going to add a schedule. We're going to link the schedule to a schedule in our runbook. We're going to use the SFTP schedule, and then we're going to say OK. So now our schedule is linked to our automation script. All right, now the next run is going to be 10:30 p.m. tonight. So in 9 minutes, this is going to kick off. Now, what we want to do is I'm going to turn off SFTP because the script actually turns it on. So I'm going to disable SFTP, and we're going to wait for a little bit. Now, what I've noticed when I was testing this is there's a little bit of a delay. So if we set it to run at 10:30, it's probably going to be 10:32 or 10:33 before SFTP actually turns on. All right, so it takes a little bit for the script to kick up, and then when it turns off at 10:45, it's going to take a couple minutes for it to kick in or kick off SFTP. So we're just going to wait here for a little bit, and we're going to wait for it to actually turn on SFTP. All right, so it's 10:30, and I want to check and make sure that this is kicked off here. So this is, the schedule is next. So right now it says the next run is tomorrow at 10:30. So let's look at jobs. So it's starting the job now. Let's see here. So if we click into the job, we can actually look at the output. We can look at the logs, as it goes on, because this script is going to run for 15 minutes, turning it on and then waiting and then turning it off. So it's going to run for a little over 15 minutes probably. So now we can see it's running. If we click into the job, so it shows that it's run the first part of the script already. So if we look here at the enable SFTP, it's listed as true. Let's go into our storage account and see if it's listed that way. So see, it's still listed as disabled. Let's see if we refresh it. Sometimes I found if I go out of the storage account and then come back in, sometimes it lists it again. So it's still listed as disabled, even though the script says it's been run. We can actually go into here and see if we can reconnect our session. So it actually let us in. So SFTP is running on the blob now, even though it doesn't show in the Azure portal. It is running at this point. So let's upload our other file, our Seattle 2 file. So I'm going to upload it. It shows up here. Let's see if it shows up in our container. File upload, there it is. We can see, we can view it. There's our other Seattle skyline picture. So we know it's working. Now we just have to wait for it to turn off at 10:45. See if that works. And then we can clean up and we can be done with our little test program here. All right, so we've reached 10:45, and our job is still running. So let's run in here, and I want to show you the results of the first run here. So if we look at the output, this is the output from the original, like I showed you before. Enable SFTP is still true. We can look at all logs here, and we notice there's two different logs. So the first log just shows the environment context of when the script started up. All right, then it shows us the full log from the first run. All right, so we can see here enable SFTP is true. It was formatted a little bit better in the other output, and we're going to see here shortly when the script will finish running, and it will run the SFTP to turn it off here in a minute. All right, now we can see that our job is completed. It's finished. And if we look at the output here, we'll see that, well, it looks like, okay, here's the bottom. Here we go. Enable SFTP has been turned to false. All right. So let's go back and we'll double check and see if we can access our SFTP here. All right, so it won't let us in there anymore. And if we go into our storage account and we take a look at our SFTP, it's still listed as enabled. So we have the disable SFTP button, but we can't get in to SFTP using WinSCP. So it's finished, the script is finished, SFTP is turned off. So now I'm going to show you how we just clean up from our test here. So we're going to clean up our automate account. We're going to delete. We're going to go into our storage account here. We're going to delete our storage account if it'll let us. Got to copy the resource name, paste it in there, say delete. Successfully deleted. Then we're going to delete our resource group. And that one takes a little while. But then the way you can go into check is if you go into your subscription and you look at your resources, all of your resources will be gone. So it looks like we still have this resource here, but it was deleted with the automation account. So it's still in the process of being deleted, it looks like, but everything else is gone. So we should have a clean environment here that won't cost you any money. Thanks for joining me tonight as I showed you how to set up SFTP in Azure. I hope you'll come back and see another video another time. Thank you so much. Have a great day.